Hello, and welcome to The Beat, a news and talk program brought to you by the Center for Community Media here at Worcester State University. I'm your host, Alexis Aslanian, and today we'll be interviewing Elaine McKenna-Yeaw. How are you, Elaine?
Hello,
Thank you for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
Can you tell our viewers about your background and your position at the Worcester Center for Crafts?
Sure. So in 2019, I came to Worcester to become the executive director of the Worcester Center for Crafts. And it was a whirlwind of activity. It was very exciting. I got to meet a lot of people in the community, and we spent a lot of time kind of also out in the community meeting the other cultural organizations. Very, very busy, had a lot of plans. We were for about a year in, and of course then the pandemic hit. So we had to take a hard stop and a big pivot like everybody did, and kind of reshift all of our focus. So since then we've been, back up and running, and we started online programming, and we started reduced classes, which are now coming back. So like everybody, we had to pivot and do that. My history is I have about over 30 years of nonprofit administration from various organizations, and usually I'm was helping adults with disabilities and in the arts, and so my professional career was as a musician, kind of brought my worlds together, and I'm so happy to be at the Craft Center. It's an amazing place.
I know that the Center for Crafts has a very big following here within the city.
Absolutely.
What are the mission and objectives of the Worcester Center for Crafts?
So the mission is to inspire and build a creative community through education, promotion, and teaching of craft. So those are our big missions. So we're really supporting artists, both emerging artists and established artists. And we do this through offering classes in craft medium, in workshops, and then we offer events that promote artists, and we have a gallery store that represents 300 artists from around the country, and everything is handmade because that's our mission. And then we have a gallery that has exhibitions, and we have ongoing events. So it's all about supporting artists, whether they're learning or established. And so that's kind of what we do.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about the history of the Worcester Center for Crafts?
Sure. So the Worcester Center for Crafts is the oldest educational craft center in the nation. It started in 1856, and it started as a place for immigrant women to come and learn craft so they could sell the craft so they could support their families. So it was kind of an educational employment place at first. Through the years, obviously it's changed and grown, and it's grown into, one of the premier educational places in the country for craft. And so we have studios in ceramics, glass, both hot and cold glass, metals, enameling, fiber arts, and of course our gallery and our store. So that's kind of a brief overview of what goes on inside the building there.
I think it's so intriguing to know that the Worcester Center for Crafts has such a meaningful origin story behind it.
Absolutely.
What types of classes and programs are offered by the Craft Center?
So again, we have state-of-the-art studios. Ceramics, we have a very large studio in ceramics. We have multiple kilns. So we have a really special place that people can come and fire their pieces in different techniques: salt firing, wood firing, raku firing. These are all different techniques. So although you might create a piece, it will come out different, in terms of how you choose to fire it. Our ceramics department is extremely popular. It's kind of like when you go into a concert and you want to get the tickets and they sell out like this, and you have to make sure you're getting, pretty much that's how our ceramics classes fill. I mean, it's like concert tickets. You have to make sure as soon as so it's fun. And then our metals department, we do a lot of small jewelry. We do forging and craft. and in metals and you know, knife making and that kind of thing, in forging. And then we do enameling, which is basically powdered glass, which melts onto metal. So you can make all kinds of different things, not just jewelry. So that's metals. And then the glass, like I said, we have stained glass, we have hand-blown glass, so you're blowing glass. And you know, these are just beautiful art forms that if you don't want to do it yourself, just watching it alone is beautiful. So those are some of the major, and then we have fiber arts. We used to have a very large fiber arts department with large looms. And we kind of have downsized now, and we do more of like felting and, you know, different types of fiber arts. So there's lots to offer. And then so the classes we do, and then the workshops are if you just want to do a one-shot deal and come in and do a workshop. So it's a very good variety to offer.
A very good variety. That way there's something for everyone.
Absolutely.
Can anyone sign up for class, or are there requirements that students must meet?
Anyone can sign up. We are open to the public, so people can come in, they can sign up for classes. Typically, there are certain classes like you have here, where it's good to take, you know, for instance, metals. You take metals 1 before you take metals 2, kind of thing. So it's good to build your foundation and build your skill base and then take more advanced classes. So I mean, we recommend that. But people can sign up for anything. And same with workshops. Workshops, you can just sign up. And then we're open to the public. We have our store, like I said, which is open 6 days a week, maybe 5 days, 5 days a week. And our gallery, which people can come in anytime. So we have about 8 to 10 exhibits a year that people can come and see.
Thank you. How does the Craft Center choose which exhibits to feature in the Krikorian Gallery, and where did the gallery get its name?
So we have a lovely gallery director, Candace Casey, and she's been with the Craft Center for many, many years. So she's very well connected with the community, and not just in Worcester or Mass, but throughout the country. So she curates the shows. So we book shows in our gallery probably 1 to 2 years in advance. And shows can run anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks up to a month, depending on the show. So she'll curate, and so we don't just do one style of show. We do 2D, we do 3D. We'll have huge, you know, mural paintings one time, and the next time we'll have pottery exhibits or a glass show. And we also, Candace also will invite guest curators. So a guest curator will come in now and curate the show, which just means outreach to artists and inviting them to the show. So everything we do is pretty much curated.
The Craft Center offers internships to students. Can you describe the different positions offered and discuss the types of experiences interns have when working for the center?
Yeah, so we work with a lot of interns, and from a lot of colleges around here, but also high schools. And we also work with Dynamy, which is a kind of a gap year organization. So we get lots of kids coming in, they want to do their internship with us. So what we do is they have to send us a resume, a cover letter, just like you would a job. We do interviews, and then based on the person's skill set and interests, we'll try to match them up in a department. And so if they go into a department, say they go into ceramics, they'll probably be functioning as a studio tech, helping with anything from loading and unloading kilns, to wiping tables down, to filing, to taking pictures, you know, whatever. But it's usually a great experience just to be in the studio and be around the artists and really absorb that environment. And then sometimes, you know, somebody has a certain set of skills that they might meet with me and I'll be like, I have a great job. So we'll do project-based interns. So for instance, like I said, we've been around since 1856. So we have long history, and as long as there have been computers and file cabinets, we have lots of records. So I had an intern come in and just kind of go through our files, go through our records, and pull out all the artists that basically would be considered alumni. And I'm talking all different kinds of files and, and she went through and came up with, between our Artists in Residence program, Visiting Artist program, our Professional Studies program, faculty that have come and gone, people who have exhibited in our gallery, people who have put work in our store. We came up with about 1,000 names that maybe we've lost touch with. And so the goal was to go on their websites, find out what they're doing now, get their updated contact information, and now we're going to create an alumni reunion. So it could be something very individualized that we can create a project for an intern, or just work in the studio. So we've just had kids come in, they helped us paint and help us clean and reorganize, and it makes a huge difference to us because none of us have time to do anything else.
You guys offer so much, so your hands are definitely full. So it's nice to have all these interns come in and help where you need it.
Absolutely, it's always a huge help for us.
Worcester State and the Worcester Center for Crafts formed a partnership in 2009.
Yeah.
How did this partnership develop, and what does the Crafts Center offer to members of the Worcester State community?
Yeah, so in 2009, just like a lot of organizations, it was a financial crisis nationally, right? So this affected a lot of organizations, a lot of nonprofits, a lot of businesses. And Worcester Center for Crafts was, also one of those organizations that was almost falling victim to the times. So what happened was Worcester State University, Worcester State Foundation, and some amazing community members formed a committee and devised a plan how to save the Craft Center. So the Craft Center is so important and so meaningful to so many people in this community. And there's long, long history. There's families that have been coming for years. There's so much history and so much connection that it was a treasure that would have been awful if it was lost. So this group of people came in and literally devised a plan. And one part of the plan was the foundation paid off the mortgage for the Craft Center with a plan for them, instead of paying the bank, now we're paying back the foundation. And I was thrilled because during my time, we were able to, took 10 years, we paid off the whole thing. So we now own the Craft Center, and so the danger of losing the Craft Center went away because of those people that stepped in. And basically they just allowed the Craft Center to get back on its feet and just kind of pay as they could, and it took 10 years, but it happened. And the other thing that happened was the Visual and Performing Arts Department for Worcester State University needed space. So we have a very large facility of about 30,000 square feet. So the Visual and Performing Arts Department moved in. So now we house their sculpture studio, Worcester State Sculpture Studio, the drawing, painting, printmaking, music, and computer lab. Those are all housed, those studios, right in our building. And so it's great because you've got Worcester Center for Crafts students, professional artists, and then emerging Worcester State art students. So it's a beautiful combination. In addition, our board has 2 deans from this university, and 2 top administrators are on our board. So they provide additional support. We get tech support from the university, and we get printing support for the university. And so, without the university, the Craft Center would have closed. So it's a major, major, extremely important partnership, and we're so grateful. Worcester State. Go Worcester State.
Well, the Center for Crafts, like you said, has such strong roots, so Worcester State couldn't let that go.
Yeah, it was so steeped in history and, like I said, so important to so many people. So we were so grateful they stepped forward and helped us. It was amazing.
The center offers a scholarship program. What types of scholarships are offered, and how may someone apply?
So typically we do grant writing, so we reach out to different foundations and corporations and ask for support for scholarship. Once we get scholarship money, then we can then use that money to provide classes for kids in schools, and we do outreach. Like once I get scholarship money, I actually go to the schools and say, hey, I have this money, do you have students that you would want to apply? Because otherwise people might not know. So I do a lot of that, trying to bring the kids in. And then we do have some scholarship, it's on our website somewhere, that people can apply. If you have a financial need, you can apply. So we only can give out scholarships if we have scholarship money. So it's really important that we continue to fundraise, because it really needs to be accessible to anybody, not just people who can afford it. Because craft is not the cheapest thing in the world to do. I mean, glass is very expensive. Precious metals are expensive. So if you want to get into that craft, there is a cost behind there. So it is important. Scholarships are very important. And we're going to keep seeking them so we can have more people come to us.
Of course. There are several annual events held by the Craft Center. If you were to pick your favorite event, which would you choose and why?
So we do have a lot of great events. One of the most popular is the Holiday Festival of Crafts. And that's the weekend after Thanksgiving. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday every year. We transform the Craft Center, and I'm talking every studio and every inch of the Craft Center, into a European-style marketplace craft festival. And we invite, again, it's curated, we invite about 60 different artisans that come from all over, and they set up these elaborate booths, and they sell all their handmade goods. But it's a very festive time, and people have been coming literally for years. It's a tradition, for many, many families, that Thanksgiving's over, then you go to the Festival of Crafts. So that's a big one, and it's a lot of work for the staff, because we literally clear out all our studios to make room for the vendors. So it's kind of a big deal.
But it's something that everyone looks forward to every single year.
Absolutely, it's a lot of fun.
What are some other ways that the Craft Center engages with the community?
So again, we're open to the public for our gallery, and the exhibits are always changing, so people can come in, it's free. You come into our gallery, you can see the different exhibits that are going on. The store is, of course, you can come shopping. I mean, the stuff in there, these earrings were made by an artist that came from the Craft Center, the gallery store. You can always come shop, at the gallery store. And then, of course, the classes and workshops, and all of our events. I mean, some of our other events, even though you made me pick a favorite, every year we have the Pottery Invitational. We invite 20 potters from usually around the Northeast. Sometimes they come from further away, but it's a curated festival of potters. So it's all ceramics. It's a beautiful, I think it's a 3-day event, and it's free to the public. We also have a pasta dinner event, which our ceramics department makes these one-of-a-kind plates, ceramic plates. And so if you come to the pasta dinner, you come into our gallery, you choose your plate to keep, and then you take it, and we have a nice pasta dinner. So that we didn't have last year. We're still worrying about it for this year, because it's kind of hard with the pandemic. And then we have Hot Night in the City, which is in July, and that's typically, we have live music and food vendors and lots and lots of demonstrations for glass and metals, ceramics. So that's a fun night. And then we host our Artist in Residence program, which is artists can apply. Usually people come from far and wide for a year residency. And so basically you get a studio, you're expected to be in your studio creating for 25 hours a week. So it's really to hone your skill as an artist. And in exchange, you work as a studio tech for maybe 6 hours a week. You get critiques every 6 weeks through the Artist in Residence Committee, and you get an annual Artist in Residence show. So there's a lot of benefits to coming for people who really want to take kind of that, almost like a gap year from work, but you also can teach. So we have lots of our Artists in Residence teaching for some income. But it's a great program, you know, and we can have up to 5 Artists in Residence per department, you know. But it's a great way to infuse new blood, new artist blood into the Craft Center, and it's a wonderful program. So we're really proud of that too. And so yeah, we're on social media, and we have a website. You can check out all the upcoming events and all our classes and workshops. We have every 6 weeks typically. We have 2 sessions in the fall, 2 in the winter, 2 in the spring, and then 1 in the summer. And yeah, everyone should come down to the Craft Center, create some memories.
Thank you so much, Elaine. You provide a lot of useful information for our viewers between the scholarships and the programs and the classes. So everyone's going to have to go check out the Worcester Center for Crafts.
Absolutely. You need to come down and check out the Craft Center.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching this segment of The Beat. Please remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We'll see you next time.